So what does the brain have to do with mindfulness and positive thinking? Well, really everything. I teach a class called Mind Up. It's for kids, but I actually teach it to adults as well in DBT. This is a little bit different than what a lot of people get under DBT. But what it is when we understand how the brain works, we can really understand how to regulate our emotions a lot better. So 3 parts that we're going to discuss today are the amygdala, these little pink things here, the prefrontal cortex, and the hippocampus. So first we're going to explain about the amygdala. Okay, the amygdala is the fight, flight, or fright part of the brain, and it reacts instantly. This is kind of the emotional part of our brain. For instance, if there was a train coming towards you, what would your first reaction be? What would be to get out of the way? Did you sit there and go, wow, I really need to get out of the way because I might get run over, or maybe I should just take 5 steps this way? No, you don't sit there and reason or think out a plan or anything like that. It's your emotions take over, you move. It's instant. And that's what amygdala does for you. It's a quick acting part of the brain, and it keeps us safe because we don't take time to really think and ponder and decide what the best strategy is. We instantly move. This also is kind of the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde part of the brain. When you get angry, sometimes uncontrolled emotion can take over. And you may say things that you don't mean or do things that you don't want to do, but your emotion has taken over. My kids knew that they were in trouble when my tooth came out. I can't even do it unless I'm really angry, the way that they can do it to mimic me, but I can't even do it. But the tooth comes out, and they knew at that point I was way beyond angry. They couldn't reason with me, and they better watch out. That's the amygdala. The amygdala protects us because, again, it's quick acting. We don't have to think about it. And sometimes we're in danger, or sometimes we need to be angry, or we need to protect ourselves. And so it's a good thing we have our amygdala to keep us safe and aware. The problem can be, though, is some people and sometimes our amygdala is in overdrive. And it protects us when we're really not in danger, but we feel those same kind of emotions that when you're in danger. So, for instance, here's some examples. Here's somebody giving a talk, public speaking, and he's terrified. What's really going to happen to him? Okay, maybe people will laugh, or probably not. And even if they did, it's not the end of the world. But our amygdala is telling us that the worst thing in the world is going to happen if we don't do right. So we get really scared. Here's another boy having that same kind of anxiety of talking in front of people, which is a big one, a big fear most people have. Some people are really scared of flying, even though statistically it's a lot safer than a car. There are people that won't go into a plane. Why? Their amygdala tells them that they are in incredible danger. And even if they're reasoning, the amygdala is stronger and they won't do that. Or some people are just so fearful of getting rejected, they don't go over after their dream job or that girl or boy that they like because they don't want to be rejected. And they think, if that person tells me no, I don't know, you just think that the world has come to an end, and it hasn't. If you thought about it logically, you'd realize, okay, if they said no, then I can ask that person, or I can go after this job, or I can move on. But amygdala just kind of keeps us in that one position where we just think it'll be the end of the world if that happened. So let's say that we're on a walk and we see this stick. So on first glance, it looks like a snake. Amygdala says, get out of the way. So you jump out of the way, and then you look at it again and you go, wait, it's just a stick. So then you're like, okay, that's not going to harm me. So basically, you're starting to get calmed down and you're starting to reason and realize it's just a stick. I just need to kind of walk over it and I will be okay. Because now you are using the prefrontal cortex part of the brain or the reasoning part of the brain. And this is the area where actually mindfulness happens. Again, it's the reasoning. It looks at all parts and makes a really good decision after thinking about things. A little side note, when you are in the amygdala part of the brain, basically your prefrontal cortex does not work very well. No important decision should be made when you are in the amygdala part of the brain. So, for instance, if I came and I found my teenage boy or girl on an inappropriate website, my first reaction probably will be in the amygdala, and I want to sit and scream at them, yell at them, but that would not be a good way to handle it. So I would need to work on getting this prefrontal cortex before I did anything about it. Because then when I'm here, I can think, okay, now I need to talk to them calmly. I need to teach them. I need to do all these good skills that amygdala, if you're in your amygdala and you react, you're going to break down the communication. So it's really important to calm that amygdala down. One of the worst tips I've ever heard is given to couples when they get married or just when they're together, that you should never go to bed angry. I think that's basically wrong, because sometimes people are just tired and ornery and they're going to just get worse and worse and worse. But sometimes after a good night's sleep, that's just what they need. Then they wake up, they're in their prefrontal cortex, they realize life isn't really as bad as they were thinking in the amygdala part of their brain. And then they can start talking and communicating and working out a solution. Okay, this is the hippocampus part of the brain. This is actually the stores memory, like quick memory facts, so you don't have to think about it, such as 2 + 4 = 6. Most people have that in their hippocampus. It's also like where you might keep a phone number. In the old days, I can say my phone number from when I was like 5 years old, 867-3924. But I cannot tell you my husband's phone number right now. Why? Because it's stored in my phone and I don't have to memorize it. So it's not in my hippocampus. So it's not stored there. It's stored in my phone instead. Kind of sad, but it's true. So hippocampus is the quick. Here's the thing, it's an important thing to actually tell kids. The hippocampus, it has to go through the prefrontal cortex to end up in the hippocampus. So if you're an amygdala, it's going to be really hard to memorize things and be ready for tests. You have to keep a calm. So this is a little tip for kids when they're learning, but it's important for us to understand as well. Okay, so again, we need to calm down our amygdala so that things can go through our prefrontal cortex and make good decisions. So what are ways to calm down our amygdala? It is different for every person. For some people, well, everybody, exercise helps, but some people like different kind of exercise. This guy's running on the beach. Some people love to just sing. Singing out loud, that calms down my daughter. So this gal's singing, so that might help calm down your amygdala. This little boy's praying, taking a time out, breathing. Actually, a lot of studies show that deep breaths, I used to think that was really silly, but I do it more and more. Taking some time out and taking deep breaths, it automatically makes you get your amygdala more. Sorry, saying deep breaths just made me start yawning. Okay. Maybe taking a nap like this kitty, like I said, then you wake up and you're thinking more clear. Or you just need to distract yourself, watching a good, funny movie, and then afterwards going back and revisiting the problem. So just doing a little distracting. It might look a lot different in an hour. Your list might be totally different. Right, it could be drawing or a number of things that help you calm down. The important thing is to figure out what does calm you down and realize, when you're angry or scared or frustrated, or anxious, whoa, I am struggling with anxiety right now. I am in amygdala. What do I need to do to kind of calm myself down so I can make a better decision? That's why it's so important. We can know when to calm it down and when to make a decision. Sometimes we don't have to make decisions right away. Once in a while we do, so we have to do some quick things. So that's the 3 part of the brains. So this week, what I'd like everyone to do is look at the different experiences and see which part of the brain is in charge, and then share and squeeze. I'll squeeze it for you, but let me give an example. This week, my daughter was here for Christmas, and she lives in Colorado, and she gave me some books to take back. She didn't need them. So I went into this bookstore and asked, I had the receipt, I had the book, said, can I get a refund? And they said, no, you can only get a gift card. And I'm like, can I get the money so I can mail it to her? They said, no, you don't have the card. You have to have the card. And obviously she's gone, so I don't have her card. I got so mad. I said, I am never shopping in here again. And I went out the door. First I asked for the manager and all that. And then I just kind of ran out the door. And when I got in the car, I'm like, this is stupid. They really don't have the authority to change anything. I talked to my daughter. I kind of calmed down, and eventually I'm going to go in and get the gift card because that's all I can do. But at the time, my amygdala was definitely mostly in charge there, and I said, I'll never return. And that obviously wasn't the best strategy. So amygdala was in charge. So look and kind of, look at yourself and kind of decide when amygdala is in charge, prefrontal cortex is in charge, or maybe your hippocampus.